Hey folks, Kellen Nitro here for Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel, and it's time for Nitro's Take. Finally, I know, a couple days after the fact, but you know, life gets in the way sometimes. That's not the Jeff Goldblum quote, but it happens. So you're getting the Nitro's Take on NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4 today, and that happened on August 18th, 2018 at Barclays in Brooklyn, NYC. That makes sense. I think it does. Anyway, here's my thoughts on the match. So love the opening package, and then going right into the first contest, you had Mauro Ranallo, Percy Watson, and Nigel McGuinness sitting, or actually standing, I should say, ringside. And that was just a cool shot. It looked like it was like from a drone or something, or a camera that was like a jib camera that was high above the ring and that stuff. Instead of doing the typical stand-up with the guy either crouching or on sticks shooting their opening or something like that. It was a very cool opening. It kind of gave the vastness of the stage that they were on. So it was really cool. You had Mustache Mountain versus the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era's tandem was Strong and O'Reilly. Mustache Mountain, of course, Tyler Bate, former UK champion, and Trent Seven, all around good guy and awesome wrestler. So I like the guy. He's pretty cool. It was a foregone conclusion, but the end of the match, of course, with Undisputed Era retaining, they get the War Raiders coming up, and that's going to be an epic series between both teams, I think. And I think WWE fans are going to be very interested to see how the War Raiders do in NXT going forward. But the former War Machine, now War Raiders, they're going to annihilate the NXT tag division. I think that's just the way you build them and just go forward with it. This, though, of course, this Mustache Mountain versus Undisputed Era match was the third contest of their trilogy of matches throughout the summer, with each team getting one win leading into this one. Of course, Mustache Mountain won the tag straps at Royal Albert Hall to give that show a little bit more of a pop. And then you had Undisputed Era winning the belts back on American soil at Full Sail during the NXT tapings right after it. So this was the rubber match, and the rubber match I think was my favorite out of the three of them. I really did like this match out of the all three of them on the Summer Series and that stuff. They worked on the knee of Trent Seven, which is more psychology, again, out of the previous encounters and everything. And actually it ended up in the finish being a factor was Seven's knee. So again, you gotta love psychology like that. That's just basic psychology 101, and I dug it a lot. Really enjoyed this, and I actually loved how it's set up right after. You get Mustache Mountain out of there and you get the War Raiders in there. Hey, awesome stuff. Maybe you see Bate and Seven now go on a one-on-one feud against each other, but I wouldn't be rushing that anytime soon. I think, if anything, with NXT UK starting up, I think you just send them back over there and let them do their thing as a tag team, because I think they have a tag team division there, so they might be the NXT UK tag team champions. EC3 versus the Velveteen Dream, man. I love the promos leading into this one. I love that virtual roundtable style that they shot that promo package with. I thought that was just, you know, the bee's knees going forward. The Velveteen's costume designers again, and the guys that do the tights for them, they strike again, like with the whole "call me up, Vince" thing. That's calling your shot, man. You know, if he'll look like a genius on Monday or Tuesday if he shows up on either show, right? So, well, who knows? Maybe as this goes to the YouTubes and that stuff this morning, we might see him later tonight on Monday Night Raw, or tomorrow on Tuesday Night SmackDown. We'll see. But man, that is calling your shot. That is cockiness, and hey, dude's got it. Right? Dude's over right now. So it kind of flies in the face, though, of what I thought with this match. I thought that the winner would end up maybe being first in line for a North American title shot down the road, with the winner, you know, being feuded with or put in a program, I should say, with either Ricochet or Adam Cole going after that North American strap. But There were a few holy shit moments, including Velveteen Dream with the DDT onto the apron with EC3. EC3's been kind of lackluster this NXT run and that stuff, so I hope things kind of pick up for him as the fall and winter descends upon us. Yeah, with all the tapings and that stuff, and leading into the Survivor Series weekend and that stuff, where of course the next takeover will be. It's one of those things where it was a solid match between the two. I wouldn't put it in a match of the year candidate at all. I thought that both Dream and EC3 have had better in the past. It just didn't hit any of the buttons for me. It felt like a TNA Impact main event from about 3 or 4 years ago. I think that's just probably because EC3 was in it, but it just had that vibe to it to me. It felt like watching Thursday night on Pop instead of an NXT Takeover. I love the finish though with the Dream Valley Driver on the apron to EC3, and then setting up the elbow drop to EC3 on the apron as well, and then rolling him in for the free count right after. I thought that was just an excellent finish to the match, and it was one of those things where actually I think the build up to the match was probably better than the actual match itself, sadly. But hey, both these guys are guys to watch for coming up in a few months here, whether Dream gets called up to the main roster or not, or he continues in NXT. And of course, what are they going to do with EC3 now? That's the thing. Also, did you catch the switch from heel to babyface for Velveteen Dream? It was as subtle as a rock to the head. It wasn't very smooth. I thought it was quite jagged, actually. Matt Riddle, the King of Bro Style, coming to NXT. Huge signing with him and Keith Lee. Is there anybody left on the indies anymore? I think there is quite a bit. But Gabe gotta start booking some different guys for WWN Championship runs and that stuff, because Evolve's losing all their guys now. Now it's a raid on Evolve almost. Actually, it's not. It's more of a partnership than anything else. But good to see, and that's going to be very interesting to see what they do with that cat. NXT North American Championship up next. The champion Adam Cole defended against Ricochet, and both entrances were awesome. I really love Ricochet's ring entrance with all the flashing lights and the lasers and that stuff, and the music and everything. And it was cool to see him go for a belt finally on WWE television and just let loose and let him go. I think this was his finest match to date, and it's amazing, what a talent like Adam Cole can bring out in a guy like Ricochet, for sure. It's probably the perfect pairing for him. I just have written down in my notes, fantastic match, loved it. And yeah, if you haven't seen this match, go out and suss it out. I think it was the match of the night for sure. This thing was just insane. Whether it's a match at the end of the year or not, that will be a match of the year candidate, remains to be seen. I don't think it was really that good, but I don't think there was actually any match on this card that would be classified as a match of the year candidate. But hey, I think going forward it was definitely something that will be a hallmark on both men's possible DVD sets down the road or something. I think that people will go back to this match and say, yo, this one grabbed the attention of all the fans that were watching it, for sure. I mean, got, of course, different articles. I was looking in preparation of this, and as I'm watching, and Bleacher Report gave it an A+, and haven't seen what the star ratings yet from guys from the Wrestling Observer and that stuff and everything say, but I think it'd probably be up there. It would have to be, because it's that type of style that they like, the back and forth. Crowd was hot throughout the entire thing, and then Ricochet delivering the 630 for the finish, got his first title out of it, so he's the new North American champion as well. Perfect. He's a perfect guy right now to hold the mid-card belt. Going into this pay-per-view, they had 4 champions that were on the heel side. You had the Undisputed Era with their belts, you had Shayna Baszler, and then you had Tommaso. And I think that was probably the first time in NXT history, I want to say, that all 4 belts were held by heels. maybe excluding the North American belt just because that was introduced earlier this year in 2018. But I really can't remember maybe another time in NXT, and you can put in a comment below, that all 4 heels held the belts. If you remember it, go ahead. Prove me wrong, as a former non-grata talent once said in promos. Yeah, still a sore spot. Anyway, NXT Women's Championship match was next. You had Kairi Sane going for the belt against the champion Shayna Baszler. I think I might have predicted it in my Nitro Take from a year ago. I have to go back and watch it at the Mae Young Classic, because these were the 2 finalists of the Mae Young Classic, and they put on a hell of a matchup. I said, wouldn't it be great for them to go after a women's belt one day? And there they were. Already 1 year later, they're going after the NXT Women's Championship. So I thought the match was awesome for what it was. This, of course, was another rubber match situation where, of course, Sane beat Baszler at the finals of the Mae Young last year, 2017. And then earlier this year on an NXT episode, Baszler defeated Sane. So this was a rubber match between the 2 of them, obviously with each person having 1 win over the other. The Baszler attacking the knee to begin with the things was kind of a sign that the match was a little, or the approach to the match might have been a little out of sorts for her and that stuff, because Sane came in with a spear, that started signaling the comeback, and that set up her attempt for the insane elbow from the top, which is one of the most beautiful finishing moves in WWE right now. Just the amount of height she gets on that thing, whew, that is so cool. Such an awesome maneuver for sure. But you can have all of the insane elbows and arm bars and the clutches and everything you want. There's nothing deadlier than a roll-up in today's wrestling, and that's what Sane used to beat Baszler and become the new NXT Women's Champion. I'll take their match from the Mae Young last year over this one. I thought this one kind of drug out a little bit and that stuff, and it was kind of unnecessary with the amount of finishers and that stuff. I think that had they stuck with what brought them to the dance last year, they would have been fine. So I'll stick with last year's Mae Young Classic as my favorite between the 2 of them. But the Pirate Princess has the NXT Championship belt now for the women's side, so that's a cool deal. And the character's getting over. So actually, both of them are over huge right now. Just gotta change up Baszler's music. I hate that music she's got. It's terrible. And of course, that leads to the last man standing match for the NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano, the champion, versus Tommaso Ciampa, the champion. I said Gargano's the champion. No, Gargano was the challenger going into this one. As you can see, Tommaso was the champion. And as far as matches go, I think this one might have actually been the weakest between the 3 of them. This was for this rivalry, there was so much going into this one and that stuff, and I think after the last matchup they had in Chicago, at the Takeover in Chicago, I think that one just kind of blew everything out of the water to this point where, last man standing kind of was the Memphis hokey-ish kind of stipulation on it. I'm not taking anything away from each talents, and that was a great match that they had. I just probably would have preferred it, or preferred one of their earlier works compared to this one. This one here, I think it's just a matter of, okay, we've seen it a couple times now and going forward. But the result, or the final result, was really fresh off of this, to have Chiappa win essentially by flopping off the stage, and he's handcuffed to the apparatus there that they have holding up the set, the little set pieces and that stuff. And he's the last person, that way he's the last person standing. Such a chicken, what way to keep the belt, but that's how you keep it. If you're a heel champion, that's how you keep it. And so the man getting it done, I love that ending. And I know that they were teasing another knee injury again with Ciampa. I'm not sure if this is still a continuation of the knee injury that he had came back from, if he has a legit knee tweak again on there, or what was going on. But again, Ciampa is the NXT Heavyweight Champion. And going forward, we'll wait and see what happens between him and Gargano. I imagine there might be still even one more match for them going forward. Well, I can see that my little timer in the corner is saying that I don't have much time left on the battery, so I'm going to wrap it up right now and just say NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4, 9 out of 10. And don't forget, this will be probably the last time you see it in its classic August SummerSlam weekend setting, because next year it'll be part of the WrestleMania weekend festivities, because of course Mania is in New Jersey this year, or this coming year I should say, so it'll be on that Saturday night right before WrestleMania will be NXT Takeover Brooklyn 5 in April, unless they've changed something going forward. WWE has never done that on us, have they? Maybe a little bit. But anyways, thanks for your patience as I tried to get this up. Like I said, life got in the way, and as of watch for a SummerSlam Nitro's Take coming up soon. I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days, happy wrestling watching, and we will see you on the flip side. Stay safe, have fun, subscribe, like, and let's comment. Let's talk wrestling, folks. See ya.